My dear friends, brothers, sisters, let us now walk through one of the most misunderstood roads to paradise, the road called pain. Pain is something everyone wants to avoid, yet it is the greatest teacher of the soul. If you observe life closely, you'll realize that every deep transformation, every new level of wisdom, every spiritual awakening is born through some kind of pain. We grow not only in comfort, but also in crisis. We mature not only through joy, but also through journeying in sorrow, because pain has a sacred purpose. It breaks open the shell of ego so that the seed of understanding can finally sprout. When life brings you to your knees, it's not to destroy you. It's to teach you how to rise differently. Pain whispers lessons that comfort can never teach. Every wound carries a message, not of weakness, but of awakening. When you are hurt, it's an invitation to look inward, to ask, what is this pain trying to teach me that joy never could? Perhaps it's teaching you patience. Perhaps it's shaping your empathy. Perhaps it's reminding you that what you were clinging to was never truly yours. Pain doesn't come to punish you, it comes to polish you. It removes the illusions, the attachments, the pride, until what remains is the pure diamond of your true self. A wise soul once said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." And indeed, when you stop hiding your scars and start honoring them, they become the map that guides others toward healing. You see, paradise is not made of perfection. It's made of peaceful acceptance. And the heart that has suffered and still chooses love is the heart that has already tasted heaven. The secret to transforming pain into peace lies in one word: surrender. Surrender does not mean giving up. It means letting go of your resistance to what is. It means trusting that life is not happening against you, but for you, even when you cannot see how. When you fight reality, you multiply your suffering. When you accept it with faith, you transform suffering into strength. Surrender is the art of saying, I may not understand this storm right now, but I trust that it will cleanse me, not drown me. Peace begins the moment you stop demanding that life be different and start discovering how beautiful it already is, even in its brokenness. When you go through pain, your heart expands. You begin to see others differently. You begin to understand the silent struggles behind every smile, and you stop judging. You start feeling. That's how pain transforms you into a healer, because only those who have bled understand the language of wounds. The kindest people you'll ever meet are often those who have known the deepest pain, yet chose to remain gentle. Their softness is not weakness. It is the strength that survives storms without becoming a storm. When you allow pain to open your heart instead of closing it, you turn suffering into compassion, and compassion into a living paradise. Every time you experience pain, you are given two choices: to become bitter or to become better. Bitterness says, why me? Betterment says, what can I learn from this? Pain without meaning becomes poison. But pain with purpose becomes power. The moment you begin to ask higher questions, not why is this happening, but how is this shaping me? You begin to move from despair to discovery. Paradise is born the day you find meaning in your pain. Because once pain becomes meaningful, it can no longer enslave you. It becomes your greatest messenger. To transform pain into peace, one must learn the art of stillness. Stillness doesn't mean the absence of chaos. It means the presence of clarity. Even in the storm, a calm center exists. That center is your soul. When the world outside is loud, go quiet within. When your heart aches, sit with your pain instead of running from it. Breathe into it, name it, let it speak. You'll discover that pain. When fully felt, begins to dissolve, because what pain truly wants is your presence, not your panic. Silence and awareness are medicine. When you stop struggling against your emotions and simply observe them, you turn wounds into wisdom and chaos into calm. That calm, that inner equilibrium, is paradise itself. One day you'll look back at your life and realize that the things you once called burdens were actually blessings in disguise. That the nights you cried in pain were the nights your soul grew wings. Gratitude is the final stage of healing. It is when you can say, I thank my pain for making me real. When you can look at your scars and smile. When you can remember your struggles and feel peace instead of anger. Then you have entered the garden of paradise. Because gratitude turns every wound into wisdom, every loss into liberation, every ending into evolution. And when your heart is grateful, No matter what life gives or takes away, you are free. And freedom, my friends, is the fragrance of paradise. Once your pain has taught you peace, your duty is not to keep it secret. It is to share that peace. Your story may become someone else's survival guide. When you comfort a broken soul with words born from your own brokenness, you transform personal pain into collective healing. That is the highest form of paradise. Not when you find peace for yourself, but when your peace becomes a path for others. So don't hide your journey. Speak it. Let your healing be the light that helps others walk out of their darkness. That's how your pain completes its sacred purpose, by turning into service. When pain transforms, it does not disappear. It evolves. It becomes a deeper awareness, a gentler strength, a quieter joy. You begin to understand that peace is not the absence of suffering, but the ability to breathe calmly through it. You stop wishing for an easy life. You start praying for a peaceful heart, because peace does not depend on circumstances. It depends on consciousness. When your mind is centered, even chaos becomes a classroom. When your heart is grateful, even loss becomes light. And that is the true paradise, not somewhere above the clouds, but right here in the heart that has learned to smile even through tears. My friends, remember this truth. You cannot build paradise without passing through pain. But when you face your pain with courage, grace, and gratitude, it turns into peace. And that peace is the foundation of heaven within you. So the next time life breaks you, smile gently. It is only removing the pieces that no longer belong to your destiny. Let your pain purify, not poison. Let it sculpt you into someone softer, wiser, freer. And when you emerge radiant and calm, you will realize, my dear friends, paradise begins within, but it does not end there. A peaceful heart is not meant to live in isolation. Like sunlight, peace must shine beyond the self. When one heart becomes peaceful, it silently influences every heart it touches. Your calm energy becomes a medicine. In a world that is sick with noise, your kindness becomes a bridge. In a world divided by fear, your patience becomes a shelter for those caught in storms. You might not change the whole world at once, but you can change the atmosphere around you. And when enough hearts choose peace over pride, love over ego, and unity over division, the world itself begins to transform. Every act of peace plants a seed of paradise in humanity's garden. The first place where paradise must bloom is not in temples or palaces. It is in our homes. A home filled with love, patience, and understanding is a small piece of heaven on earth. It doesn't matter how grand your house is. What matters is whether peace lives inside it. Paradise is built when parents speak with kindness instead of anger. Children are taught gratitude instead of greed. Siblings support each other instead of competing. Famo. Eat together, pray together, laugh together. The real richness of a home is not in what hangs on its walls, but in what lives in its hearts. A peaceful family creates souls strong enough to heal nations. So start small. With gentleness at your dinner table, with forgiveness at your doorstep, with patience in your conversations. Because the world's peace begins with the peace of one family, yours. Every relationship in your life, friend, partner, parent, or stranger, is an opportunity to build paradise or to destroy it. The key is how you treat people. You can speak words that lift them higher or words that leave them lower. You can either add peace to someone's life or take it away. Paradise grows when you choose to understand before you judge, to listen before you reply, to heal instead of hurt. Remember, every person you meet is carrying some invisible pain. When you meet them with compassion, you bring a glimpse of paradise into their day. Even a single kind word can change the direction of someone's life. So speak words that heal, not harm, build, not break, bless, not burn. The tongue is a tool. It can open the gates of paradise or the doors of destruction. Use it wisely. Speak gently. Speak truthfully. Speak with the intention to bring peace, not to win arguments. A wise person once said, before you speak, let your words pass through 3 gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If your words pass these gates, they will always lead to harmony. In a world full of noise, be the voice of calm. In a world full of criticism, be the echo of encouragement. Your words are seeds. Plant them carefully, and the garden of paradise will grow wherever you go. To create paradise around you, learn the art of deep listening. Listening is more than hearing words. It is hearing the soul behind them. Most people listen to reply. Few listen to understand, but understanding is what heals hearts and builds bridges. When someone speaks to you, give them your presence, not your phone. Look into their eyes. Let them feel seen, because being truly heard is one of the most sacred forms of love. When people feel understood, they soften, they open, they trust. And that moment of trust, that safe silence, is a moment of paradise. Once the heart is peaceful, once the home is harmonious, the next step is to expand outward, to community. Imagine neighborhoods where people greet each other with smiles instead of suspicion, where kindness replaces competition and cooperation replaces conflict. Such communities are not built by governments. They are built by ordinary people with extraordinary love. Start by helping your neighbor, offer food to someone hungry, listen to someone who feels invisible. Plant a tree, clean your street, smile at the shopkeeper. Each act, however small, sends ripples of goodness that may reach places you'll never see. And together, those ripples merge into a river that refreshes the world. That is how paradise expands, one compassionate act at a time. True leadership is not about power. It is about service. It's not about being above others, but among them. A peaceful leader listens before leading, gives before gaining, and unites before commanding. Such leaders create paradise in workplaces, schools, and societies, because they rule not by fear, but by fairness, not by force, but by example. If you are in any position of influence, as a teacher, parent, or manager, lead with calmness, make peace your policy, and compassion your strategy, because authority built on love endures. Authority built on ego collapses. When you serve others with sincerity, your leadership becomes a light. And where there is light, paradise follows. The world today is filled with division between nations, races, and beliefs, but no amount of laws or politics can unite us until our hearts learn to forgive. Forgiveness is the language of paradise. It bridges the gap between us and them. It turns strangers into friends and enemies into teachers. When we forgive collectively, as families, as communities, as nations, we release the past and create room for a brighter future. Every act of forgiveness, no matter how small, heals the human story a little more. So if you want to change the world, forgive someone today. If you want to bring peace to your country, start by bringing peace to your own mind. Understand this profound truth. The outer world reflects the inner world. If you see anger everywhere, it's because there's anger within. If you see beauty everywhere, it's because beauty lives in your heart. You cannot build a peaceful world with an anxious mind. You cannot create paradise outside while chaos rules inside. But when your heart is filled with love, you start seeing love in everything. In people, in nature, in small miracles that were always there. As your inner world changes, the world around you begins to mirror that peace. This is the real magic of life. The transformation that starts unseen, yet touches everything. You may not realize it, but your energy affects everyone you meet. If you walk with peace in your heart, you become a silent healer. When people leave your presence feeling lighter, calmer, and inspired, you become a walking piece of paradise. Carry peace in your eyes so that when someone looks at you, they remember hope. Carry peace in your voice so that when you speak, hearts soften. Carry peace in your actions so that when you move, the world feels safer. Be that person who makes others believe that goodness still exists. For such people are the gardeners of paradise on earth. Paradise does not bloom in isolation. It spreads like fragrance, silently, gently, universally. When your soul is at peace, your words heal. When your home is at peace, your children shine. When your community is at peace, your nation rises. And when humanity is at peace, the earth itself becomes paradise. So my dear friends, begin within, but don't stop there. Let your peace flow outward like sunlight through open hands. Let your love be contagious. Let your kindness echo beyond borders, because paradise is not a dream for the afterlife. It is a duty for this life, and it begins wherever a peaceful heart chooses to share its light. My dear friends, beyond all your ambitions, goals, and dreams, there lies one quiet desire. The longing to return home, not a physical home. To rule over them. Prayer is the soul's breathing, the moment when the mind rests and the heart speaks. In prayer, we don't change God's plan, we change our perception. We stop seeing chaos as punishment and start seeing it as preparation. Every sincere prayer opens a window of light in the walls of worry, and when light enters, darkness has no place to stay. So pray, not out of fear, but out of love. Pray not only with words, but with actions. Let your kindness be your prayer. Let your patience be your worship. Let your peace be your praise. If prayer is speaking to the divine, meditation is listening. In meditation, you discover the silence that speaks louder than words. You realize that beneath every wave of thought, there is an ocean of calm. That calmness is not something you create. It's something you uncover. Meditation is like polishing a mirror, removing the dust of distraction so that the light of your soul can shine clearly again. Sit quietly for a few moments each day. Breathe slowly. Watch your thoughts come and go. And in that still space between thoughts, you will meet yourself. The self that is untouched by pain, fear, or doubt. That self is peace. That peace is paradise. True peace comes when you stop struggling to control everything. The more you try to force life into your plan, the more resistance you feel. But when you surrender to a higher wisdom, trusting that what is meant for you will come and what is not will leave, a deep serenity fills your heart. Surrender does not mean passivity. It means participation without panic. It means working hard but resting in faith. You say to the universe, I will do my best and I will trust the rest. And that trust opens the gates of paradise within, because nothing is heavier than control and nothing is lighter than surrender. When you let go, life flows. And where life flows, peace grows. The spiritual dimension of paradise reveals a simple but life-changing truth. Everything is sacred. Every person you meet is a reflection of the divine. Every challenge you face is a message from the divine. Every sunrise, every tear, every breath carries the fragrance of the divine. When your eyes awaken to that truth, ordinary moments become holy. The mundane becomes miraculous. You stop rushing through life and start revering it. You begin to greet life itself as your teacher. You find paradise not because life becomes easier, but because you start seeing God everywhere, in laughter, in struggle, in silence. If peace is the foundation of paradise, then love is its fragrance. And love, my friends, is not an emotion. It is the nature of the divine expressing through you. When you love purely, without fear, without expectation, without control, you allow heaven to flow through your heart into the world. True love is not about possession, it is about connection. It seeks not to own, but to understand. It does not demand, it gives. It does not weaken, it strengthens. Love is the fire that melts away ego. Love is the bridge between the human and the divine. And when your love becomes unconditional, your life becomes unshakable peace. That peace is the purest paradise a human heart can know. Faith is not the absence of doubt. It is the courage to walk through doubt with trust. It is the quiet confidence that even when you cannot see the whole path, the next step will appear. There will be times when you feel lost, when prayers seem unanswered, when silence feels endless. But remember, silence is not absence. The divine is still working, still guiding, still loving you through the unseen. When your faith stands firm in the dark, your soul begins to glow with the light of paradise, because faith is the star that leads you home. Home to peace, home to meaning, home to your Creator. Of all the forms of worship, gratitude is the purest. It turns every moment into a meeting with the divine when you say, thank you. Not only when life is easy, but even when it's hard, you affirm your trust in a higher wisdom that knows more than you do. Gratitude transforms pain into perspective and loss into learning. It is the soul's way of saying, I may not understand, but I still trust. I may not have everything, but I have enough. Gratitude is the heart's way of walking in paradise long before the body ever gets there. You don't need to renounce the world to live spiritually. You only need to bring spirituality into the world. Spirituality is not about escaping reality, it's about elevating it. It's about doing ordinary things with extraordinary awareness. When you eat, eat with gratitude. When you work, work with honesty. When you rest, rest with peace. When you love, love selflessly. Every action, no matter how small, can be worship if done with sincerity. Every moment can be holy if lived with awareness. And when awareness fills your daily life, your office becomes a temple, your home becomes a sanctuary, and your life becomes a living paradise. The spiritual dimension of paradise is the remembrance of who you truly are, a soul of light, a vessel of peace, a reflection of the divine. When you align with that truth, you stop seeking heaven and start becoming it. You stop chasing happiness and start radiating it, because you are not a traveler searching for paradise. You are the very doorway through which Paradise enters this world. Every soul at some point hears a silent call. Who am I really? Not the name on your ID, not the roles you play, parent, friend, student, leader, but the you that existed before the world told you who to be. Self-discovery is not about becoming something new. It is about remembering what you've always been. It's peeling away layers of fear, imitation, and doubt until your true essence, calm, creative, radiant, shines through. That essence is your inner paradise. To know it is to begin to create your own heaven on earth. You were born not only to survive, but to create. Every thought you think, every belief you hold shapes the garden of your life. The divine gave you imagination as a seed and free will as water. What you nurture grows. If you plant seeds of worry, you harvest anxiety. If you plant seeds of hope, you harvest miracles. Self-discovery means realizing that your life is not a script to follow. It's a painting to finish. The brush is in your hands. You are not just living in creation, you are co-creating with the divine. Every choice you make whispers to the universe. This is the world I wish to live in. Most people live behind invisible walls. Walls built from other people's opinions, past mistakes, or fears of failure. But your soul was never meant to live confined. It was meant to expand when you begin to question your limits. What if I can instead of what if I can't? Those walls begin to crumble. True freedom is not found outside, it begins inside. The moment you stop believing the lie that you are small, you were not created to be average, you were created to be authentic. And authenticity is the soil where self-discovery blooms. Purpose is not something you find, it's something you realize. It's already written in your heart like a hidden melody waiting to be played. Your passions are clues, your pain is direction, your joy is confirmation. Ask yourself, what makes me feel alive? What can I give that no one else can in the same way? Purpose is not about fame or fortune, it's about contribution. It's how your unique light brightens the collective world. When you live on purpose, your days stop feeling like chores. They become chapters in a divine story, a story only you could write. Self-discovery is not all sunlight. It's also shadow work. To know your light, you must face your darkness. Pain is not your enemy, it's your mirror. It shows you where healing is needed, where Venus must enter, where love still waits to be given. Healing begins when you stop asking, why me, and start asking, what is this teaching me? Your scars do not make you broken, they make you beautiful. They prove that light can enter through the cracks and still make art. And every healed wound becomes a doorway back to your inner paradise. Belief is creation's first spark. The universe echoes what you whisper to yourself. If you say, I am unworthy, life mirrors limitation. If you say, I am capable, doors appear where walls once stood. Self-belief is not arrogance, it's alignment, it's trusting the potential the divine has already placed in you when you believe in yourself. You stop waiting for permission and start walking in purpose. You stop doubting your path and start blessing your journey. That is how creators of paradise think. With conviction, with courage, with compassion. Dreams inspire, discipline manifests. Without daily commitment, even the brightest vision fades. Self-discovery demands responsibility, the willingness to shape your habits around your higher self. Wake up early to meet your soul, write your goals, speak words of power, take small, consistent steps every day. Remember, greatness is not born in a single leap. It's carved through 1,000 small acts of faith. Discipline is love in action. Love for your purpose, love for your potential, love for your future self. In a world obsessed with imitation, authenticity is rebellion. To live authentically is to live in truth, to act, speak, and choose from your deepest values, not society's expectations. Authenticity attracts peace. When you stop pretending, you stop exhausting yourself. And when you are true to yourself, life begins to align around that truth. Remember, the more you hide, the more you suffer. The more you reveal, the more you heal. Your real self is enough. And when you stand in that truth, paradise begins to unfold naturally. Paradise is not a destination, it's a design. You create it every day through your thoughts, your choices, your energy. When you choose kindness over anger, you create paradise. When you choose faith over fear, you create paradise. When you choose growth over comfort, you create paradise. The outer world changes when the inner world awakens, and the day you take full responsibility for your inner state. You become the true architect of your heaven on earth. That is the essence of self-discovery. To stop searching for the light and start shining it. The journey of self-discovery is the journey of creation itself. To know yourself is to meet the divine artist within you, the one who paints, builds, heals, and loves through your hands. When you align your thoughts with truth, your actions with purpose, and your heart with peace, you don't just find paradise, you become it. Paradise does not always come with golden gates or angelic choirs. Sometimes it comes quietly, in the sound of laughter, in the scent of rain on dry earth, in a shared smile between two strangers. The secret is not in the world outside, it's in your eyes. When you learn to see beauty in the ordinary, you awaken heaven in the present moment. A simple meal becomes a feast. A quiet walk becomes a pilgrimage. A small act of kindness becomes divine service. Paradise begins not with a change of place, but a change of perception. The present moment is the doorway through which paradise enters. Yet most people live everywhere but now, chained to regrets of the past or anxieties of the future. Peace exists only in the present, in the breath you take right now, in the stillness between two thoughts. When you breathe consciously, you connect with life itself. When you truly listen, you connect with souls. When you simply be, you return home. To the paradise within, presence is not just being here, it's being alive here. Mindful, grateful, awake. Gratitude is the fragrance of paradise. When you are grateful, you elevate your energy. You begin to see abundance where others see lack, and opportunities where others see obstacles. Every time you say, thank you, you align yourself with the frequency of peace. Gratitude transforms your room into a temple, your work into worship, and your relationships into sacred connections. Write your blessings, speak them aloud, feel them deeply. Gratitude doesn't just count what you have, it multiplies it. In a world hungry for compassion, kindness is the greatest act of creation. You never know how far a gentle word, a listening ear, or a helping hand can reach. Each act of kindness plants a seed in someone's heart, a seed that may grow into hope, strength, or even salvation. Paradise is not a place you find after death. It's the love you give while you're alive. Be the reason someone smiles today. Be the reason someone feels seen. Because every time you ease another's pain, you step into heaven's light. Every person carries invisible wounds. Life brings storms, heartbreak, loss, disappointment. But it is through these very storms that the soul learns to dance in the rain. Pain can destroy you, or it can refine you. It can harden your heart, or it can open it. The choice is always yours. When you stop fighting pain and begin listening to it, you hear wisdom whispering. You are stronger than this. You are growing. Transformation begins when you use your suffering as a seed from which compassion and resilience bloom. When you learn to turn pain into peace, you turn your life into a living paradise. Forgiveness is the fragrance the soul releases when it finally exhales. It is not about forgetting the past. It is about freeing yourself from its prison. To forgive is not to approve of what happened. It's to reclaim your power from it. You forgive to heal, not to excuse. Holding anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other to die. Forgiveness is setting yourself free when you forgive. You dissolve bitterness and create room for love. And where love lives, paradise follows. Your work, whatever it may be, is sacred when done with awareness. It is not the type of Job that defines holiness. It is the spirit in which it is done. When you work with honesty, you serve truth. When you work with love, you serve creation. When you work with dedication, you serve the divine. Even sweeping a floor with presence and gratitude becomes an act of prayer. Paradise begins when your work ceases to be a burden and becomes your offering to life. Every person you meet is a mirror. They reflect your strengths, your wounds, your hidden emotions. The ones who challenge you reveal where healing is needed. The ones who love you show what you already are. Instead of reacting, begin to observe. Ask, what is life showing me through this person? When you see others not as enemies, but as teachers, conflict turns into clarity and your heart expands, creating more space for peace, for love, for paradise, in the rush for more. We often forget that peace lives in less. Simplicity is not poverty. It's freedom from excess, clutter, and noise. The simpler your life becomes, the clearer your joy becomes. A simple life gives you time to breathe, space to love, and silence to hear the divine whisper. Paradise was never complex. It was pure, quiet, whole. Return to simplicity, and you'll find that heaven never left. Begin each day with gratitude. Before touching your phone, touch your heart. Speak words of kindness. What you say shapes your day. Take mindful pauses. One deep breath can change your mood. End the day in reflection. Ask, did I live with love today? These small acts, done with sincerity, build a sanctuary within your soul. Every habit can be holy when done with awareness. Love is not emotion. It is existence itself. It is the current that runs through every heartbeat. The force that creates, heals, and transforms. To love purely is to live in paradise. Love the people around you. Love the work you do. Love the moment you are in. When love becomes your nature, nothing external can disturb your peace. You no longer search for paradise. You embody it. Paradise was never lost. It was only forgotten. It is not in a distant sky or a promised tomorrow. It is in the stillness of your heart, in the kindness of your hands, in the faith that turns pain into peace. Every sunrise invites you to create heaven again. Every breath reminds you that you are already home. So live fully, love deeply, forgive freely, and remember, each and every action of your life, when done with awareness, compassion, and truth, makes paradise real, here now within you. Every life faces storms, times when nothing makes sense, when faith feels faint, and when silence seems to stretch forever. These storms are not punishments. They are purifications. They strip away what is false so truth can breathe again. They break illusions so you can see what truly matters. When the sky turns dark, remember, the storm is not there to drown you, it's there to cleanse you. No seed ever grows without the rain. No soul ever shines without being tested. You are not in the storm, you are the calm within it. Pain is not an enemy, it's a messenger. It doesn't come to destroy, but to awaken. Pain asks, will you grow through this, or will you give up here? Every heartbreak teaches you about love. Every loss teaches you about letting go. Every disappointment teaches you about faith. When you stop running from pain and start listening to it, it turns from a wound into wisdom. The same fire that burns the forest also clears the soil for new life. Likewise, the fire of your suffering clears the space for your rebirth. Think of the lotus, born in mud, yet rising clean and pure toward the light. It doesn't curse the dirt that birthed it. It thanks it. In the same way, your greatest strength often emerges from your deepest struggle. The very pain you thought would break you becomes the foundation of your resilience. You shift your question from why me to what is this shaping me into? You stop being a victim and become a creator. That shift is the birth of inner paradise. Acceptance is not weakness, it's wisdom. It means you stop fighting what is and start flowing with it. Life has seasons: joy, pain, growth, rest. Trying to cling to one and avoid the other brings only suffering. Acceptance says, even this moment has meaning, even this pain has purpose. When you accept life as it unfolds, you stop resisting reality, and in that surrender, peace arrives quietly, like dawn after the longest night. Your wounds are not your identity, they are your teachers. Each scar tells a story of survival. Each tear carved a new depth in your compassion. The people who have known the most pain often have the softest hearts, because pain, when transformed, becomes empathy. Share your scars not with shame, but with strength. They are the proof that you have walked through fire and found light. Remember, the cracks are where the light enters. Holding on to pain is like clutching thorns. It only deepens the wound. To rise beyond suffering, you must release what no longer serves your peace. Let go of the should-have-beens. Let go of the what-ifs. Let go of the need for closure from those who can't give it. When you release the weight of yesterday, your wings remember how to fly. Letting go is not loss, it is liberation. It's how you create space for joy to return. Joy is not the absence of pain, it's the triumph over it. It's the quiet strength that whispers, I'm still here. Joy returns when you start noticing small blessings again. The warmth of sunlight, the sound of children's laughter, the comfort of your own breath. When you give thanks even while hurting. You tell the universe, my spirit cannot be broken. And slowly joy begins to bloom again, not as an escape from pain, but as a crown rising above it. Every ending is a beginning wearing disguise. The door that closed was simply redirecting you to one that fits your soul better. Your pain pushed you because peace was waiting somewhere new. Your loss emptied you so you could be filled with purpose. The universe never takes without giving something deeper in return. Patience, empathy, wisdom, faith. You are not who you were before the storm. You are stronger, softer, and infinitely more alive. When the night feels endless, remember, the sun never stops shining. Sometimes the clouds just hide it. Likewise, your light never goes out. It only gets hidden by fear or grief. But it is still there, waiting patiently. Have faith in your dawn. It may take time, but it always comes. You've walked through fire before, and here you are. You've been broken, and yet you love again. That resilience is your proof that paradise can be rebuilt, no matter how dark the night. You are not defined by what hurt you. You are defined by how you healed. Every storm you survived gave you new wings. Every scar is a map leading you back to yourself. When you turn pain into peace, loss into lesson, and suffering into service, you rise not just from your wounds. You rise as light itself. And that light, your awakened, compassionate, unbreakable soul, is the living paradise the world so deeply needs. The purpose of finding inner peace is not to escape the world. It is to heal it through your presence. True transformation is never selfish. When you awaken, your energy begins to ripple outward, softening hearts, calming minds, and inspiring change. Simply by being who you have become, you are not here merely to exist. You are here to be a living reminder that peace is possible, that love is stronger than fear, that light still wins. Your calm spirit becomes a sanctuary for others. Your smile becomes a seed of hope, and your life, your quiet, kind, consistent life, becomes a legacy of light. You may never know the full impact of your kindness. A word spoken today might heal a heart 10 years from now. A simple gesture might inspire someone to believe again. The energy you release does not disappear. It circles back, touching countless lives in unseen ways. When you choose to live with compassion, you become part of the invisible network of healers, souls who rebuild the world, not with power, but with presence. Never underestimate the power of your example. The most beautiful sermons are not spoken, they are lived. In a world full of noise and chaos, be the one who remains still. In a world obsessed with proving, be the one who listens. In a world chasing perfection, be the one who offers understanding. When people meet you, let them feel peace, not pressure. Let your calm become their reminder that life is not meant to be rushed. Your energy is your message. Speak peace without words. Radiate paradise without pride. Let your presence whisper, it's okay to slow down, breathe, and believe again. Love is a feeling. Compassion is a choice. But service is love in motion. Every act of service, no matter how small, builds bridges between hearts. Feed the hungry with food or with kindness. Comfort the hurting with words or with silence. Give your time, your attention, your care. Service is not about saving the world. It's about loving it back to life. And the more you serve, the more your soul glows. Paradise grows wherever service flows. To lead with light is to lead without ego. True leaders don't demand followers, they awaken leaders in others. When you rise, don't rise above, rise with. Lift others as you climb, celebrate their victories. Share your wisdom, not your superiority. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less often. It's remembering that every gift you have is meant to be given. And when you give from the heart, you don't lose anything. You multiply meaning. Your work, whatever it is, can become your legacy of light. Do it with integrity, do it with excellence, do it with heart. A teacher who teaches with love leaves a legacy greater than any book. A farmer who plants with care feeds generations beyond his own. A parent who raises children with empathy changes the future quietly. Legacy is not built in fame, it's built in faithfulness. Every small act done with sincerity etches your spirit into eternity. Be mindful of your words. They are seeds of creation. A single sentence can build or break someone's day. A single smile can melt a wall of despair. Speak gently, speak truthfully, speak to heal, not to hurt. Your words carry the vibration of your heart. When your heart is rooted in peace, your speech becomes a soothing rain to thirsty souls. That is how you spread paradise. Not through grand speeches, but through everyday tenderness. The world doesn't need more critics. It needs more candles. Be the one who shines when others curse the night. There will always be injustice, anger, and pain. But your role is not to mirror it, it's to transform it. Light doesn't argue with darkness, it simply shines. You don't need to fight hate, you need to outlove it. You don't need to win every debate. You need to win hearts through example. The presence of one awakened soul can bring balance to 1,000 troubled ones. So shine, not to be seen, but to help others see. The most powerful message is authenticity. People don't need perfect examples, they need real ones. When you live what you speak, your life becomes your sermon. Be the peace you wish the world had. Be the love you wish people knew. Be the hope you once prayed for. When others look at you and feel inspired to be better, you've already built a legacy of light. Sometimes you don't need to fix people. You just need to sit beside them in silence. Your calm energy can comfort more than your advice. Your listening ear can heal more than your solutions. Presence is medicine. When you learn to truly be with others, without judgment, without hurry, you give them a glimpse of paradise because in your stillness, they feel safe again. What you give from your heart never dies. It lives on in others, in their actions, their words, their kindness to the next person. This is how legacies multiply, through love that refuses to end. You may not build monuments or write books, but if your life helps even one soul breathe easier, you have built something eternal. The greatest mark you can leave on earth is the peace you gave to others, the living legacy. Your life is a sacred flame, meant not to be hidden, but to guide. Every smile, every act of grace, every time you choose compassion over cruelty, you are writing your name in the language of light. And when your time here ends, it won't be your possessions that remain. It will be your presence in the hearts you touched. That presence will whisper to the world, paradise was here, and it lived through a human being. So walk gently, love fiercely, shine humbly, and let your every breath become your gift to the world. My friends, paradise is not a distant dream. It is a reality we build through our thoughts, choices, and actions. Every act of kindness opens a gate. Every word of truth plants a tree. Every moment of gratitude builds a bridge between heaven and earth. We spend our lives searching for peace, but peace was never lost. It was waiting within us when your heart becomes gentle, when your mind becomes thankful, when your soul becomes forgiving. You are already walking in paradise. Do not wait for a perfect world. Create it within yourself. Transform pain into wisdom, fear into faith, and loss into love. Let your heart be a garden where peace blooms for others to rest. You are the builder of your heaven. You are the light of your path. You are the living proof that paradise is possible. Not someday, but this very day. So walk with grace, live with compassion, and let every breath, every smile, every act of love whisper to the world. Paradise is not a place I seek, it is the way I live.